So obviously this year elections were very much a key thing in the news, but we've been sort of focusing on election security at SANS for a good number of years. It's been so critical over the past decade. And Frank LAROSE is the Secretary of the State of Ohio, Secretary of State of Ohio. And if you are from other countries or don't realize how elections are run, the secretaries of state in each state really own the election process in that state and are responsible for making sure it happens and happens well. Mr. LaRose played a proactive and very pivotal role in ensuring election security has been top of mind for several years in Ohio. As many of you may know, SANS is sponsored and supported the critical security controls for many years. It's now part of the Center for Internet Security. And Mr. LaRose was very key in mandating that the CIS critical controls be adopted across all county and state election entities. He was also one of the ones that pushed out the requirement that all election systems be part of the multi-state ISAC network monitoring and managing service on premise for all the sites, which is very key. He also created a bill to create the nation's first cyber reserve under the National Guard to protect Ohio from cyber attacks. In his past, he served in the U.S. Army's 101st Airborne and as a Green Beret in the Special Forces. So in this year, with finally getting through the elections, Frank, congratulations and thanks for all you did.
Well, thank you, John. What an honor. And this is obviously the work of many hands. And so I'm happy to receive this as the Ohio Secretary of State, but on behalf of really hundreds and hundreds of elections officials all throughout the state, as well as our world-class cybersecurity team. As you mentioned, we set up a multi-point checklist for all of our county boards of elections to complete. It involved a cultural change for some of our county boards of elections. We have county boards of elections that are very small operations, 2 people that work in the courthouse basement. And we have county boards of elections that are well over 100 people in a very large, sophisticated operation. But we made sure that every one of them had an Albert intrusion detection monitoring system, monitored 24 hours a day, of course, and also SIM event monitors so that we could log events and go in and look when things do go wrong and figure out what happened. Of course, the human firewall is probably the most important thing that we did, and mandating the right kind of training and background checks, not only for our boards of elections, but also for their vendors, is something that I think really made a difference. And the first in the nation vulnerability disclosure policy, the first election office in the nation, that is, to put out a vulnerability disclosure policy, to ask those really talented folks to show us where we have some vulnerabilities so that we can fix them. And that's been a big success. And then, as you mentioned, creating the Ohio Cyber Reserve with the Ohio National Guard. So we have that surge capacity. So not if, but when something goes wrong, we're ready to respond with some of the best minds that we have. And then, of course, building the team with bringing in a CISO, a world-class team around him, working very closely with Department of Homeland Security. I got to say that the Department of Homeland Security and the CISA team there has been incredible to work with, and as well as other states, working laterally with our partners in other states. We talk all the time and share information. Information sharing is so key. Of course, we're not going to rest on that. We're moving forward. We've got some innovative things that we're doing on information sharing. The price of liberty is eternal vigilance, or as I like to say from my time in the Army, the bad guys only have to be right once. We have to be right every single day. And that's why we're not resting. We're innovating. In fact, we've got a piece of legislation pending in the state capitol behind me right now that helps us take an important next step to make sure that Ohio continues to lead on election cybersecurity so that voters can be confident that their voice is heard. That's the bottom line.
Okay, thanks, Frank, and congratulations on being a 2020 SANS difference maker.